Welcome to Slow and Steady, the podcast where you get to follow along as we build products in public. Each week we'll give you an honest peek into our lives as we share our struggles, our wins, and everything in between. I'm Benedikt, and I'm feeling a little unfocused this week.
And I'm Benedicte. Today is May 14th. This is episode number 201, and I'm feeling energized.
Ooh, nice. That's good.
Yeah, that's very good. But you should know by now, don't take vacations. Takes as long as the vacation to get back into the groove.
Right. Yeah. No, it's, yeah, you might be kidding, but it's not that far from the truth, I guess.
I know. But
yeah, it's just slowly
in all I can't even speak. In all seriousness, it's good that you had a proper vacation, and it does take some time to get back into that focus state.
True, yeah. It was definitely worth it. And I think what didn't help the past 2 weeks, I guess, is we had like 2 public holidays, one per week, like right thrown into the middle of the week, so that whatever productivity streak you thought you had going on was killed right off by a day off.
Well, I take your bank holidays and up you another 3 or something like that. Like Norway, May in Norway this year, all the public holidays are not landing on weekends, and they are landing a lot on like Thursdays, which means we get squeeze days in this country. You don't work, and we've talked about this a year ago on the podcast, but just to remind everyone, right. Because this is a weird Scandinavian phenomenon, is that if a bank holiday lands on a Tuesday or Thursday, you usually then don't work on the squeeze day, which is the Monday or Friday. I mean, it's
Makes sense,
great.
Yeah.
It was great when I was a student. It was great when I was a normal employee. Not so great when you have international clients and school is closed because it's a squeeze day. So we've also had less time for focus work, but still loving May though, because we finally have spring. And on Friday, it's the 17th of May, which is obviously just a date, but it's also our national day, and it's one of my favorite holidays coming up on Friday. Yes. And it was funny. We were talking to a friend and her daughter, and I think this happened to my daughter as well, but her daughter she just said, "Isn't it funny how 17th of May is on 17th of May?" Because we just call it 17th of May, and it takes them a while to realize it's because of the date.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, so that's kind of funny. But so just to close off the 17th of May shenanigans, I am then a volunteer for the Children's Day Parade, which I have been looking forward to since I left high school, because you're only allowed to walk in the parade if you are in school, like if you're a child that's in school. But you're also allowed to walk in the parade if you're a chaperone. So I've been like waiting for this to happen. And on Lillian's school, they don't walk until 3rd grade. And the email came out like, we need chaperones. I have never volunteered for anything as fast. I think it was like 22 seconds after I got the notification on my phone. I was like, yes, I am in. I am going to walk in this Children's Day Parade.
Sign me up.
Sign me up. So I am just... Yes, we are finally walking in the Children's Day Parade again. And I live in the capital city, so it's the biggest parade. We walk all through the city, or up the main street, not all through the city. We walk up the main street, we wave to the king and queen, and then we circle back down, and then it's over. So that was the little Norway for you.
So what else is going on? I mean, you said you're like energized and super excited and all of that. So tell me more.
I told you last time we talked, as a 200th episode, that I have become the fractional CTO of Whee.no, which is a company that lets you subscribe to cargo bikes, or long tail cargo bikes, not the ones with the little buckets in front, but the ones that have a long tail where you can like put 2 or 3 kids on the back seat. Or what is that called in English? Like the back thing, the little luggage
I don't.
rack, whatever, the thing behind the
Yeah.
seat on the bike. Tell me in a DM what that is called, because I'm going to be talking a lot about those in the future. So yeah, I was thinking it could be fun to like just talk a little bit about the timeline, because I was a pilot customer for them in 2020 and have been a customer ever since. It is my absolute favorite everyday like product. They handle everything to do with my bike. Electrical bikes do need more maintenance than a regular bike. I don't have the admin capacity in my life to like think about maintenance of this bike at all. So they just call me in twice a year or 3 times a year to do like a full service. We get winter tires, we get summer tires. They do all of that. And I just like love this product so much. I've been like their champion customer. I'm like talking to everybody about them. I'm like, you need to get a Whee bike. And because I've been waiting for like years wanting to get a cargo bike. And my issue was that I started researching it and there were so many so many possibilities, and these blog posts were like so hardware focused, and I was like, I don't really care about the hardware. I just want a bike that I can like bike my kid around on and like have more freedom in my everyday life. So I ended up always not buying anything because I was just like, I can't like make a decision. And then they came out with this, and in the beginning they only had one bike. I was like, sign me up. That's the bike I'm having. They take care of it. I'll just have it. They have more bikes now, but still it was just like this freedom of like, this is not my responsibility buying the best bike because they do the maintenance.
How does it work? Is it like a shared bike, like car sharing, where you just have an app and then you say, I want to use this bike for today or whatever? Or is it your own bike, like a leased car or something like that?
It is basically a leased bike, but they can't call it leasing because leasing has very specific legal ramifications in Norway. So they call it renting.
Mm-hmm.
But it works like you would like a leasing of a car works. So it's my bike.
So it's in your garage. You can use it whenever you want. No one else is using it without your permission. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So it's my bike. I have it here, and it is weirdly how pivotal having the bike has been to my life. It was just before COVID, or I got it in November 2020. So I guess COVID had been for a while, had been over us for a while. And, you didn't really want to do public transport and those kinds of things. And just being able to jump on this bike and like bike anywhere. We live in one of those cities that are small enough that I could pretty much get anywhere in 15 minutes on the bike. And funnily, we were joking before this stream that I'm always late. Like it's just like my internal clock is just not, I don't know what's up with my internal clock, but it's specifically moving through the city, my internal clock is way off because in my mind, it takes 15 minutes to get anywhere before I got this bike. So I was always late and I got the bike and I'm almost not late, just like 2 or 3 minutes late instead of like 20 minutes late because now it actually takes 15 minutes to get anywhere in this city. And it's just like it's hard to explain. When I got the bike, it's just such a free, like it just feels so free. Like it feels like your whole city opens up in a way that it doesn't when you have to use a car or you have to use public transport. And I use it in the winter. Like I just bike anywhere with it. And it, if somebody's on the other side of town, like, oh, let's grab a glass of wine or like, let's get a drink. Before I would be like, oh, but now like, yes, I'll just jump on my bike and I'll be there. Anyway, so that is the sales pitch. At least cool. This is my relationship to Whee. And then she actually came and delivered my bike. The founder delivered my bike back in November 2020. And we got to chatting about no code and stuff like that. And I ended up having a tech chat with them in May of 2021 when I looked back at my history before last time we talked. And then I haven't really had that much time to like follow them up and stuff, but I'm like always trying to be, positive and spread the joy of Whee. And then they had a crowdfunding session in December of last year where I invested. a little bit of money, or 4K, so not just a little bit, but I was a geek about it. I went for like 42,000 Norwegian kroners just to like get the 42 in there. And then I contacted them in January, just asking, because I was done with the bank job. I was like, hey, what's up? Are you needing any tech assistant? And then here we are. Now I am the fractional CTO and only developer. But they have a super cool team where like the COO guy so the basis of the tech platform is Airtable, which is kind of both a database and a view layer. It gets a little muddled, like when are you in like database mode and when are you more in like business logic mode.
Right.
But he's managed to use this to run the whole workshop. So the big thing here, you were like asking how it works, is like one of the big things is that you lease the bike, but then also they are responsible for, you rent it because it's not legally leasing, but they do all of the maintenance, and running the workshop in a lean way is one of those things that, will make the margins higher. So he's done a really good job with Airtables and setting up automations and setting up little views. I think Airtable called them interfaces onto the database, or onto the Airtable database. But now kind of they need a little bit of help to take what they have and improve on that even more. And then there's a little next application, which I'm not too fond of, but there's next application for customers to sign in and like manage their subscription. And at this point, like most of the issues are arising for this custom code, while the no code stuff is just running without any issues, which I find super interesting. Yeah, I can keep on and on. What more did I note down about this? Yeah, so I've been like just like getting an overview of everything, all the tools and services that are in use. And there was a lot of talk when I started about, we need to like migrate to a proper database, because I think a lot of tech people that they've talked to have been like, you can't just like run off of Airtable. You have to, have a proper database, like a Postgres database or like something like proper. And I went in and I looked at their system and the issues they are having. And I was like, this is not a database problem. It's a data model problem. Like, I've interviewed you for our data model podcast, because it's like, it doesn't matter if we move on to like a more professional or like better or proper database, because the problem is the model where the customer is also the account and the subscription and connected to a specific physical bike. So like everything is muddled into the customer and the bike like tables or objects, because in Airtable they're both like tables, but then you can also put little like business logic functions into columns. So everything is like muddled there. So if people then change phone number, and then the log is on a phone number. So if you change your phone number, then you can't log in anymore, and you can't like change the subscription without losing access to the bike. And there's like things there that we need to, look at and decouple. But it's not the technology of the database, it's the modeling of the data. And it's quite natural, because I think the first version was the founder, Karianne, just going into Airtable and being like, here are my customers, here are my bikes, and we have like 16 of them, and that's it. So it's going to be, my head is like swimming. I'm like going to bed at night, I'm like, subscription, account, like how, and then the bike, and and I'm hoping something comes out of it. Something good comes out of it.
That's pretty exciting, though. But yeah, once again, like proves that people keep saying that like no code will kill developers, and no one will need developers anymore. But in the end, it's a no code tool, and you're still thinking about the same stuff as you're thinking about when you're writing code. It's just a different tool, right? But the problems are the same.
The problems are the same, but I also think it's so cool that they've gotten this far so they started with the founder modeling things out, or like doing things and getting this started. Then they had a self-taught developer that did a lot of the work. And I don't think it should have been done in a different way. Like maybe if they had somebody a little bit more senior in the beginning, they would have said like, well, let's split the account from the person, or like, there are some things that are
But
we know this is a foot gun, like, let's do that from the beginning. But they have gotten, to this point, and at this point, like, it's not really the system that is slowing them down. It's funding to buy new bikes, because it's a super capital intensive business. So this also means that all bikes are sold at this point. They call it sold, but all bikes are rented out at this point. So we actually have the summer, and until new bikes will be arriving, I think sometime in the fall, to actually do the work on the system without, people really noticing it, because there's no new bikes coming. There's not like no new.
Right. There's not a lot of activity, right?
Yeah. There's not a lot of activity. There's not a lot of maintenance, because the maintenance period is over this week. All the bikes have been in for their spring service. So it's very similar to kind of like SaaS, in that it's a subscription model, but then it's like very different from a SaaS, because it's tied to a physical bike. So it's not just like, oh, I have access to this resource. It's like, I have access to this one specific resource. It has a frame number, and that's the bike that's in my house. And for like billing, and, for like billing doesn't care, but customer service and maintenance cares, because they care about which bike. So it's interesting to like have a little bit of that SaaS knowledge, but then also trying to like fit in this like very physical aspect. But it also means that it's at this point like 330 bikes. So, when they talk to tech people and they say scale, I think I mentioned this because I had a talk with them and I didn't say who it was. And, and they've been talking to tech people about scale. They said the word scale, and that's when they've gotten, the advice that you need to move over to a proper database. But scale for us now, it's like
even
1,000 bikes.
It's 3,000 bikes. You can easily do that.
You can easily run on Airtable. Like, this is just it's not an issue. But if you tell somebody techie, like, oh, we want to scale, like, as I told them, like, well, we're talking about a minimum of 10,000 customers. That's scale to a tech person. And here we're talking about a maximum of like 1,500 within the next 3 years. So it's, we don't need a tech stack at this point that scales in that way, but we need a tech stack and a data model that works so that we can build upon that. And when the time comes and you need that proper database, then you actually have a model that works, right? So, yeah. But and then there's also, they're in Oslo. I get to go to their office and like sit in meetings.
Are you using your bike to get to the office?
Yes, I am. And then yesterday I went down. So it's true startup life. They are sitting in they have an office in a building that's supposed to be torn down. It's not condemned. I wanted to write condemned on Twitter, but that means that you're not supposed to be there. So it's not condemned because it's not dangerous, but the whole kind of block is supposed to be torn down. So while they're waiting for it to be torn down, they've like rented out the spaces to like startups and a lot of more like green initiatives, because this is obviously like a green initiative. So this house is just, I'm going to share more photos, because there are like these old elevators that are just like filled with old like computer systems and building materials, and people move out of their office, and it was supposed to be torn down in August, but now they've extended it until the end of the year at least. So it's one of those projects that it's like, it's never going to happen, but nobody does maintenance on this building. So it's just kind of piles of things. But then there's some like beautiful artwork that was a part of the building that is in different places. So it's just really cool vibe actually to go. I kind of like that kind of a vibe, to go down there. And then after being with like the admin team for the weekly meeting, so I'm sitting in on a lot of meetings now just to like get a sense of what's up. I took the bike and I drove up to the workshop, and then got to sit with like customer service person and understand like her workflows and what she needs from the system. So yeah, I do use my bike.
Nice. That's cool.
Yes, it is cool. So yes, that's why I'm energized. But I'm also happy it's not like a full-time job, like we talked about before, where I have to go into the office and like be at an office all the time. I am really, really happy about this mix where I have the remote team with Outseta and that I kind of chat with, and it's over, I get to know them over time, but I don't have to kind of be in an office with them. And then I have this group where I can be in an office and it's in Oslo, and like I'll meet some of them at, parties or networking events. Like they're actually in my physical area.
They're actually around.
They're actually around, so that you can have like after hour for drinks or whatever, like that. But then I can also just decide to work from my now corner office, because we built a shelf wall around my desk, so I now have a corner office in my living room.
Nice.
And just like allowing myself this kind of fractioned part-time, whatever, like allowing myself to have this kind of like varied mix is just making me so happy, instead of like trying to do what you're told about focusing on like one niche or one technology or one customer base or one, and then like, but weirdly enough, they are connected, because Outseta creates no-code tools, and that has made me have to look at a lot of no-code tools. And then we uses no-code tools. I do have experience with a lot of those tools, and like all my weird experience is actually working out for both companies, and there's an overlap. So
yeah, I think the advice of like focusing on one thing and stuff like that, I think that mostly applies to like product businesses, or like if you're trying to start a business from the ground up. Like if you were to start Whee right now by yourself, then focus makes more sense. But this way you're focusing on development, or like being the CTO, and you don't have to think about all the other aspects of running that particular business. So I guess it's less of a problem, right?
But also, like, what gives you life? Because I noticed, so the Whee original founder, Karianne, she also like started a coffee shop next to the first workshop they got, and then they couldn't use that workshop. It's now turning into a bar. It's just that kind of a person where you just like create and make stuff. And then she's handed off those two things to other people. But I think, I haven't asked her, but I also believe probably for her that like having those little side quests is giving her the energy she needs to keep at it with Whee, which is like a longer, more capital intensive type of a project. So I don't know, it's a little bit of like both, where it's like, even if you should be focusing on 100%, maybe you can get your energy from a side quest.
Yeah, I guess it depends on what works for you. But like I know from my experience, if I don't focus, then nothing gets done is maybe not the right term, but like I struggle making progress.
Yeah, I mean, I've absolutely experienced that as well. But I've also kind of experienced that even when focusing on only one thing, I don't make that much quicker progress. I just think I just end up procrastinating a lot. Thinking about doing things and having like two things, they don't end up taking slower, because I'm just using that procrastination time, switching between the two.
Interesting.
Because I've tried to be like, okay, I'm only going to do this one thing. And then I just like, oh, I'll go for a walk, or suddenly I'm on Twitter, or I'm on, Slack channels, or, because I just need a change. My brain needs a change.
A change.
Yeah.
Interesting. I feel like these days I'm struggling at least with feeling productive, or like maybe even being productive. I don't know, because I feel like I lack that focus, or that clear one thing that's highest priority right now. I think it was easier earlier this year, or even end of last year, when it was crystal clear that the workflow builder is the most important thing we should be working on. It was easy to just ignore everything else. But recently, I feel like the opposite is true, where sure, we still have like there's stuff on the roadmap that needs to be done and all of that, but it's not that clear what is the primary thing at the moment, and therefore I jump between stuff a lot, and a lot of things feel like equally important, and then I dabble a little bit on this and then jump to the next one and dabble a little bit there and then back to the first one, and then overall it feels like I'm not making that much of progress, or it's not like none of those things actually get done, but there's a little bit of progress on all of them. But yeah, I don't know, it feels weird. I feel like, as I said initially, I feel unfocused because I'm not sure what to focus on, I guess. So yeah, that's the part I'm struggling with these days a little bit.
But I also think a little bit, I've started noticing that I have kind of, it's circular a little bit, where I have times where I'm more in that, like picking on a lot of different things. And then often coming out of a period like that, things become very crystal clear. Or I have kind of epiphanies that I wouldn't have if I sat and like, okay, I'm just going to code on this like one feature and that's what I'm going to do. And I'm not going to do anything else until it's done. Like sometimes kind of just like jumping in between, it's like you're collecting little clues, or your mind gets to like wonder and you look at different things, and maybe you're a little bit on Twitter and suddenly you read an article about some new thing, and then after like a week or two of that, suddenly it's like, oh, direction again. And I think if you never allow yourself to have those like times where you're not like 100% focused, one, I think you'll burn out, because a little bit about that like collection, that's the creative part in a way, or like the creative process. And I feel like a lot of the work we do with building products, it's more of a creative process than like an engineering factory. Like if you work as an engineer, like I did at the bank, like this is your feature, do it. Next feature, do it. But when you're working on a product or you're part of a startup, like a lot of it is like, yeah, what should we work on? What is the next priority? I mean, should we even code this? Like, will that just create maintenance overhead if we make it? Like maybe the good thing is not to make it. So if you're then sit and like collect little articles and you know, that might be a good thing because you're not like building unneeded stuff just to like fill your 9 to 5. Like I have to produce something, so I'm producing it. And I see that a little bit with we had full-time consultant where they've started on project that probably weren't a priority or weren't needed, but since they had somebody full-time, kind of their time needed to be filled with engineering tasks. And I mean, an engineer can find engineering tasks. Like it's not
True.
So yeah. So if you read more about like creative processes of artists, I feel like I've seen a lot from them talking about having like periods of time where it's not comfortable and it's not, you don't feel like you have a direction, but from that exploration and that like uneasiness and sitting in that comes something, or something comes out of that, and like trusting that you're not just wasting time. Sometimes you do, though. Sometimes you are obviously wasting time. It's really hard to know the difference. Yeah. But I think allowing ourselves to have a little bit more just like thinking time and like non-productive, immersing ourselves in our craft / adjacent business stuff is helpful. I'm so eloquent when I talk about this, like stuff and things, and just like,
and then you do this, and then you do that, and then
I don't have the vocabulary for creative process.
Right.
Yeah. So, well, that was all of that to say, maybe you just need this right now, and then something will crystallize.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's not that I lack things on the to-do list. That's definitely not a problem. Yeah, I'll figure it out. It will be fine, I guess. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Because I don't have much to.
You don't have any. You're like, ooh.
I don't have anything to update you on.
You have to go out and like look at the sun and I don't know, run twice around the house or something to just like.
Yeah, get outside a little bit. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Get outside a little bit. I do probably have a little bit more updates. Yes, we have a super fun update. And that is because I don't think I said who it was, but we have a build with us customer where we are going to build a super fun demo on stream, and it's going to be with Urlbox, which is a screenshotting service. Shutting.
Screen shuttering service.
It shoots screens. No. Okay. Urlbox, which lets you screenshot websites. And we came up with the absolutely ridiculous idea, but that will showcase a lot of its feature. And that is that we will take, like, I will go to Benedikt's profile on YouTube. We will screenshot the whole infinity scroll feed, and then we're going to print it on a towel.
What? Print it on the towel. Okay, that's interesting.
We needed to print it on something, and summer is coming, so if we can make it happen, I haven't even told Urlbox this, but if we can get this done in time, so it's not going to be actually deployed, but you can like spin up the demo, and when the demo is running, you could do this whole process. And I want to do this for some of the speakers coming to React Norway at the end of June. So after doing the stream and like doing all the social clips and stuff, we can hand over a towel to White Panther, for instance, with like her best performing tweets like in the feed. Because I noticed if you go open somebody's profile and you're not logged into Twitter, you get kind of their best of feed in a way where it hides some of the feeds, but it like shows the most interesting stuff, or however Twitter does this. But in my little MVP where I just did this manually, that is for me at least, that was totally fine for like a two kind of sections of like, so you got like 2 rows or 2 columns on the towel with like your best performing tweets, I guess. So then we could hand some over to, for instance, Salma, aka White Panther, and others who are coming to React Norway, which is on a beach. So things are overlapping. They're stacking. The projects are stacking so that they actually become more than their individual parts, which is also something you get when you don't focus on only one thing.
Fair enough, yeah.
So we haven't scheduled the streams yet, but it's going to be sometime in either end of May or early June, where we build out this product, where we then get to screenshot using Urlbox, which is needed because we need to like close modals, and there's like lots of things that are happening on the Twitter page to actually give us access. And we also need to be able to do infinity scrolling and keep on taking a screenshot. So it's like a little bit more advanced than just firing up Puppeteer or whatever and take a photo, or take a screenshot. So I think it's going to be fun. And then we even got, is it Jonathan? I'm so bad with names.
Yeah, Jonathan, yeah.
Yeah, probably. Jonathan. So Jonathan works at Urlbox, and we were like debating, because first they were like, this is a crazy idea. They were like, we need to think about it. But they're on board now. And he came up with some really cool references to Galaxy, what's it called? Galaxy, time traveling in the galaxy. What's the 42 book?
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Because if you've read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you know that like a towel is super important for a galactic traveler. And he came up with like this really cool tagline where we kind of cross out galactic traveler or whatever and just write like web developer. So it's like a towel is and then for a web developer. So we can like reference the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy as well, which will be fun for, us senior devs who have read the book.
To us nerds that like...
To us nerds! So I'm very happy about that.
Stuff.
Exactly. So I think that's going to be super cool. I'm very excited about getting my own towel. I will bring it to the beach with pride and a little bit of shame. So, do you want a towel, Benedikt?
I'm not sure. I am not sure about that.
I mean, it's cringy cool.
It's definitely cringy. and maybe it's cool. I mean, the idea is cool, but I'm not sure I think I'd appreciate it whole, but like I'd be super embarrassed using it in public.
And while I was, because I think when I wrote about it as an idea on Twitter, a lot of people thought like my Twitter feed, like the feed that you see when you kind of log into Twitter, you see a Twitter feed with other people's tweets. And we could do that as well. But then somebody suggested a toilet paper roll.
Yeah.
So I was like, I actually researched if you can print on toilet paper rolls. And you can, but it has to be the same thing on every square. So you can't get like a continuous feed. It has to be like, we could do one tweet on every, but it would have to be the same
But
tweet.
that's still funny, I guess.
Yeah. So there are infinite possibilities when it comes to this screenshotting to print like use cases. So I think our demo will be pretty fun, and you can then, because this would be, I think we're going to use Printify or Printful, both have towels. We don't know yet exactly which one, but so we'll connect to that. So if you wanted to make some kind of like swag generator that would take, because these could be like tweets from a conference, maybe you want the feed of the tweets that are shared for a conference, then you could do that. So it doesn't have to be like your tweets, but I think it's funny for us to like, present people with their own towel with their tweets on, just because it's cringy and fun.
Right.
But it could be like all kinds of things, and then push it to print. Like I think it's a fun demo that is more than just like adding screenshots to a blog post, or like more of those kind of like getting started type tutorial type things. Like this is a little further than a tutorial. So yeah, well, then I'm done.
Nice. It's a funny idea. I'm looking forward to see how that turns out. And great you're working with Urlbox, because they're great. I mean, I don't know both of them, but I know Jonathan, and he's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we met him in Athens.
Right, you met him in Athens. Now,
Yes.
did we both meet him in Athens? No.
Yes, he was. Yeah, he was there with RailsConf when we were in Athens, wasn't he?
Yeah, you probably was. Right? Yeah. Yes, of course he was.
Yes,
Man,
we were at the roof. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, long time ago, almost a year.
It's almost a year ago. It's not. It feels
like yesterday.
I mean, for me, it feels like forever ago. I don't know what happened to this year, but this year has just, I don't know, it's just felt very long. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
Whatever.
Which is kind of a good thing, because it's, sometimes you have years and you're like, what happened? It was yesterday. Like you're having and you feel like.
I think it has something to do with like how many memories you make in a certain year. Like the more good or like bad memories you make, the longer the year feels. Because if nothing happens and it's just day to day, then there's nothing to remember basically, and you're like, well, yeah. 40,
I think there's some
52 weeks of the same, I guess.
I think there is. They've seen this in the brain where, when the days are similar, they kind of get stacked on top of each other and stored as one memory.
Yep, makes sense.
I also have seen this with, I used to have like this huge summer party at my cabin in Sweden. I really want to bring that back, but people are not willing to sleep like on the floor without a mattress anymore. But
people are getting old.
People are getting old. If I find it, I will link to a TikTok that references this exact thing, where people are no longer just like jump on the chance to go to a party and sleep on the floor. Anyway, I used to have this party every year, and I've noticed that now that I haven't had it for like 10 years, all of them have become one. So I have no idea who was there at the same time, because all of those parties have been stacked and they are now one memory of that party. So like in that one memory, somebody fell in the water, and like the story about the time we found lots of cooked meat at in the middle of the night that we had forgotten to eat, and that time I thought being drunk in a boat was super. All of those memories are from that one party, and it's a party that stretched. I think I did it like 10 times. or 15.
Sounds like one hell of a party.
I mean, it was one hell of a party, I tell you that. I'll tell you that. It was absolutely one hell of a party. I miss those parties. Let's quit on that note.
Sounds good. Have a nice party.
See you around the interwebs.